Another quick history lesson. Delver decks are decks back in legacy format that are primarily known for being annoying disruptive decks. Despite Delver being the name of these decks, the two main cards that make them Delver decks are Wasteland and Daze. Wasteland, you can pretty much use it, play it as a land to destroy one of your opponent's lands, and Daze is a spell you can pay for free and counter a spell like a Juari Disruption. Now, these spells are fantastic for slowing down, disrupting your opponent, but they're rarely long-term solutions, so these can't make it in a controlled deck. So what ended up happening was, with the printing of Delver of Secrets, players realized they could play Delver of Secrets on turn 1, let it flip, and then just stall out the game with Wasteland and Daze. And in 7 turns, the opponent's dead. And that's with just one Delver on the battlefield. Eventually, people found all sorts of other similar cards to Delver, and Delver even got to the point where sometimes Delver wasn't in Delver decks, so they called it Delverless. But the premise of the deck was still the same. Play cheap creatures and disrupt the opponent as much as you can, while you slowly kill them with these efficient threats. So, can we make a Delver deck in Standard? Stick around and you'll find out. Hello and welcome to the Art of Artisan. Today we are going to be playing Delver in Standard, and this deck, I was testing it and I had so much fun with it that I never settled on a deck list and I just kept playing and playing, and I made it to Diamond rank with this deck without any rares or mythics. So like many Delver decks, our center is a couple of very fast growing threats. Usually Delver decks have 10 to 14 threats in their deck, and I just chose the 3 best threats I could and ran 4 copies of each. Delver is our earliest threat we can play. Illuminator Virtuoso usually kills our opponent the fastest, and Stormchaser Drake was just the best option I could find, but it's not really that good compared to the other 2. Now, unlike Delver decks, we don't have super strong disruption, so what we need to do with our deck is protect our creatures. And it works really well with these cards that have bonuses when we target them. So we have 12 protective spells in this deck. Boon of Safety, which we can use, which the Scry 1 is super significant here as it can help us to flip Delver. Slip Out the Back is incredible as a way to dodge even like Farewell, like regardless of what sweepers our opponents play or what removal spells, Slip Out the Back can save us. And Sagiri's Shelter is a nice protection spell because it can also, if we have an Illuminator Virtuoso that keeps getting chump blocked, we can use it to make our creature unblockable and swing in for lethal. As well, we've got a bunch of counter spells. One that I really want to highlight here is Essence Capture. Essence Capture is especially powerful in this deck because it does target a creature we control. So we can play Essence Capture and draw a card off of it if we have Stormchaser Drake on the battlefield, or we can pump up our Illuminator Virtuoso. But in general, we are trying to disrupt the heck out of our opponent after we stick a threat. Along with our counter spells, we've got 2 copies of Fading Hope. Once again, the Scry is very important for Delver, and that can help it so that if our opponent plays a really early threat, then we can bounce it and then counter it when they try to play it again. And then we've got a couple of pump spells. Wings of the Cosmos, I think of it in this deck as a removal spell. If we play a Delver, and then our opponent plays an Adeline, and we swing with Delver, then Adeline swings, and we can play Wings of the Cosmos on our Delver, and all of a sudden it's a 4/5, and that can block most Adelines and kill them. So it's a really nice surprise. It can also, once again, give flying to our Illuminator Virtuoso, very important. Revelation of Power, similar idea with trying to get a flying threat if it's Illuminator Virtuoso, but the lifelink is extremely important here as well. A lot of times our opponent got a couple of threats early on, and we're just trying to race in the air, and that lifelink usually is the difference between winning and losing. And then Show of Confidence, I just thought I'd throw one into the deck. It works kind of well with our creatures that get targeted. If we counter a spell and then play Show of Confidence at the end of our turn, we can draw 2 cards with it, or pump up our Illuminator Virtuoso a ton. So it's a 1 of, not the best card in this deck. And our lands, because we have 8 spells that are lands on the back, we only need to run 18 lands in this deck, which means we have 30 spells that flip Delver. So even without the cards that scry for us, it's usually going to flip over pretty fast. So, that is Azorius Delver. And let's see how it does on the ladder. We're going to be playing in Diamond today, so it's going to be pretty hard, but let's see how it does. Alrighty, game one. I accidentally submitted the wrong deck, and I'm going to restart the recording for the matches, but I'm in Diamond rank right now, so this is going to be a bit tougher of matchups than my usual videos. This hand is good just because we have Storm Chaser Drake into Essence Capture, and we do have the mana to do that. It's a lot of tap lands, though, and Storm Chaser Drake is probably our worst creature, but I don't think we can throw it back. That is an issue with this deck, is having only 12 creatures, it's really hard to find the right opening hand. I think we're just going to have to... I'm trying to think what order to play lands. I guess we start with the Azorius Shelter because we've got 2, and we're probably not going to be trying to Essence Capture until we already have Storm Chaser Drake down. Ooh, okay. Darn, I'm a little bit punished for doing what I just did. I guess we start off still by just doing this. Okay. I should always start with Skybridge over Azorius Shelter, just in case I draw a gazillion lands. Delver. Delver is good. My opponent did just foretell a card that looks like it could be Doomscar, so I'm gonna lean towards Storm Chaser Drake, so we can leave up, slip out the back, and use our mana perfectly. Actually, I probably just should have done Delver so I could Dwari. Another Foretold card. Opponent has something to do with 1 mana. Trying to think, if you're a Control Shell, I'm assuming they're a Control Shell because there's no other white cards that really see play besides in Control Shells. Then Portable Hole, I guess. They're thinking about whether they should try to Portable Hole the Drake. That could make sense. Alrighty. Our turn. We play the land, and we play Delver. Now this leaves up Azorius Shelter, Dwari Disruption, or Slip Out the Back, and we can only protect 1 of our threats. But if they're a Control Shell, I think protecting 1 is still good enough. Hopefully. Doomscar? No, Righteous Valkyrie. Okay, we will counter that for sure. That is a flyer that blocks our strategy pretty badly. I do wish we could have Essence Captured, because then we could have drawn a card there. Essence Capture to draw a card would have been real nice. We will reveal that for sure. And now we are at the part of the game where we do not play anything on our turn. We just leave up counter spells, we leave up protection, we leave up Slip Out the Back. Hope our opponent has nothing they can do. Although if this is Starnheim Unleashed, yes. We will absolutely counter that. I don't know why they paid max mana for that. They just guaranteed that they got it countered. I think they have another Starnheim in there. Okay, if we do Slip Out the Back on one of our threats, let's say Delver, then we can do Azorius Shelter and Revelation of Power to get past any angels that our opponent might play, and that will mean it swings in for only 6, so that's not enough. Alright, just trying to think if we should use Slip Out the Back just as a pump spell on our opponent's end step. Ooh, that's probably the game then. Yeah, that's the game. We now can swing in for 8 with Revelation of Power. Good game, opponent. Ooh. And that's 8. And that is what the Tempo Shell does. We just troll our opponent forever. Play a couple cards, sometimes even just 1 creature, and then we just hold back and protect them. And now that we have Slip Out the Back, we have a way to protect our creatures from literally anything. So this strategy looks really good now. On to game 2. Alrighty, game 2. We already got to see how different this deck is from the Azorius Magecraft decks, where you're just spamming spells on your turn to pump up Clever Lumimancer. I originally did have Clever Lumimancer in this deck, but it turned out that Lumimancer was not actually very good in it. So I ended up dropping it and going for just the 12 threats I have right now. Okay, the opponent's sacrifice. let's see. Next turn I can play Storm Chaser Drake and have protection up for it, but I can't do that with Virtuoso, so I think I actually just run out Virtuoso. Hope that our opponent does not have like Shambling Ghast into Deadly Dispute or anything like that. They do not. Okay. Our tempo plan, we don't have a lot of counter magics. That is a downside right now. But I am feeling pretty good about this. We want to leave up Boon of Safety. That is definitely the better card to leave up than Fading Hope. Fading Hope we can throw in if we ever need to just surprise win. I think no attacks for now. We're going to play in a little bit cautious, which is dangerous because we don't have protection against Meat Hook Massacre right now. Okay. So our opponent is going to gain a lot of life with that unless we get rid of it soon. Yeah, that's an issue. Sajiri's Shelter doesn't actually get us any damage because our opponent can still block with... They have 2 colors of creatures. I think we're actually going to discard Fading Hope. That's a little bit risky, but do we want a second one? I think actually not. We want few threats and lots of annoyance. That's how we build this deck. Here, I think we just... I guess we just swing in with Virtuoso. Our opponent tries to like triple block it to cause issues. Oh yes. If they don't have Eye Twitch, then we get to do some serious problems. I also love having shield counters on Double Strike because our opponent can't just remove them by chunk blocking because we kill their creatures before they deal any damage to us. And yeah, we'll pass. We've got Protection Magic. We don't have a good way to deal with Scoot Swarm yet, but it looks like our opponent's going to waste this turn trying to Necrotic Fumes us. Does this exile? Yeah, it does exile. Ooh, they can't. Alright, they can't Necrotic Fumes us yet. How much damage can we potentially deal? Not enough, obviously, but I guess we just keep swinging in, and then we'll leave up Sajiri's Shelter to protect whatever they go after with Necrotic Fumes. And then... well, they do just get their skeleton back, so that didn't really do anything for us. But if they go after Virtuoso, then we can hopefully connive into some sort of spell, which will make it into a 3/3, and then we can cast Revelation of Power on it, and at best turn it into a 6/6 double strike flyer, which is not nearly enough. Now, it looks like our opponent's coming close to the point where Scoot Swarm is a serious issue. Maybe Fading Hope doesn't really stop Scoot Swarm. We really just needed counter magic this game. We're getting ruined by a lack of counter magic. Okay, that's Necrotic Fumes. We will absolutely protect from black here. Draw another Virtuoso, which we actually probably don't want. We really just need to get flyers in, and that's going to be more in the form of spells than more Virtuosos. Opponent's thinking, okay, they don't want any attacks. Wings of the Cosmos. Okay, if we do Wings of the Cosmos on our Illuminator Virtuoso, then we can get in 2 turns in a row now, and that should be enough. This will make it into dealing 4, so that'll be 8 damage, 10 damage, and then Revelation of Power will guaranteed do even more. Yeah, let's do this. Okay. Oh, we can't attack with... oh, no! Oh, we can't attack with the Drake or with anything because of Jaspera Sentinel. I guess we just do it anyways and draw a card with Wings of the Cosmos. It's really the best we can do here. Shoot, dang. Okay. I probably should have played this before they chose blockers in case we drew a second Wings, which we did not. Bunk and bunk. I guess we just try and get more flying threats in. And then we will play this, because that makes it easier to sacrifice Skybridge Towers and maybe hit something good. Like if we draw another land, we can sacrifice Skybridge Towers, and still do Revelation of Power. That's 4 scoots, which is also 4 life. Oh, and a life from that. I really wish we had Meat Hook Massacre in our deck. Meat Hook would look real good right here. And now I just need to hope our opponent can't really do anything, which is very unlikely. We can gain a bunch of life with Revelation of Power. What are they destroying? Delver? Okay, we lose Delver. If they swing in with Prosperous Innkeeper, I will block that and just hope that somehow I make it. Slip out the back. Not super useful here. I guess we just Revelation of Power on Illuminator Virtuoso. Let's see what we can get. Jwari Disruption is not useful anymore at this point in the game. We hit them for a bunch of damage, but it's not going to be enough damage. And I think we're going to cast Slip Out the Back on our Storm Chaser Drake just to get us the most card draw, hopefully draw into one more flying spell for our Virtuoso. Revelation of Power been surprisingly good in this deck. Like, we're at 32 life, which, if our opponent wasn't gaining a ton of life, that means we can just race in the air, easy peasy, with Storm Chaser Drake. However, our opponent has gained a lot of life. A stupid amount of life with that Innkeeper. And I'm not sure we can really keep up. Because Binding the Old Gods, yep, now that. Which is actually going to kill our card draw. Yep. Okay, we lose this game. We just did not have a turn 3 answer to Scoot Swarm when they cast it. We had no counter magic this game except for a Jwari Disruption that we drew way too late. And so we are going to go 1-1 after this game. Trying to think if there's any possible crazy combination of cards that could win us the game. This would need to be a 13 power creature to do anything. That seems extremely unlikely. Field of Ruin, of course. We will tap this for blue. Boop-a-doop. They kill it. We look for, I guess, a Plains. Actually, I think even, yeah, Plains, just in case. I don't know why I say just in case, but it might end up being important. Our opponent, we will make them walk through their triggers, who knows. Yeah, we scoop it up. Our opponent has won. We have no answer to this. We'll see what Slip Out the Back does. Yep, alright, concede. For sure, concede. And, yep, that's one of the issues with these tempo decks is we do need the counter magic really badly. This is a better deck, I think, in best of 3, like a lot of our decks, because against control decks, we can just board in a gazillion disruptive spells for them. And against these decks that just have a lot of value-based creatures, we can board in all of our essence captures, which can be really good. But yeah, on to game 3. Alrighty, game 3 versus Delta Monjin BM. Oh boy, BM. That's not a good end to your name. Okay, one of our few just pump spells. We have Counter Magic, we have Fading Hope. We don't have any protection for our Virtuoso. But we're on the draw, we can hope to draw into it, because we've got a lot in the deck. And it looks like we're up against some sort of green deck of annoyance. Okay, yeah, mono green aggro. Oh. Yeah, that's still a part of mono green aggro. Where we do have Fading Hope, I feel a little bit safer just running out a creature like this. And Show of Confidence works so well with Virtuoso. Okay, 4 mana, is this Chariot? Oh, I should have saved. Okay, Kadama. That's slightly okay. Alrighty, what do we do here? So if we hold up Counter Magic, we can't do anything besides our Counter Magic because we only have 1 blue mana. If we do this, we can do Fading Hope into Show of Confidence, which is a really fun line. I think we just save up our Counter Magic here. It's not too likely to do much considering they have Lotus Cobra, but they may just like play a land and then try to go for unnatural growth. Oh, that'd be sweet. White. Okay, not mono green. A shy. Oh, this is perfect. Get Dwaried. Get Dwaried. Oh, I was really scared that they were going to ramp way too much for us to do anything there, but that was a fantastic target to counter. Alrighty. And we will just pass the turn. I guess we need to get our opponent's life total down and fast. Sajiri Shelter is probably going to make our creature unblockable. So if we can just get him really big with this show of confidence, we likely win the game. Gala Greeters, that's not worth countering. And I doubt they're going to use it to gain life. It's there for the +1/+1 counter theme with Kodama. Depending on what our opponent does here, I may just bounce something. Do I just bounce something and then show of confidence? Got 3 mana left. If I don't do anything, that's kind of bad. So I think I do. Oh no, they can replay it. They literally can just replay it. How powerful will Virtuoso get? It can become a 4. It could become a 5/5 this turn. Then Sajiri Shelter makes it a 6/6. That's not enough to kill. So we will just pass to damage. Opponent, please play Sling. Aw, shoot. Alright, we just wasted a turn. That's a second Virtuoso. Do we play it? We want the Sajiri Shelter in hand. Opponent's got nothing going on. Do we just stall for another turn by playing Saw It Coming? Yeah, I think so. Alright, we're going to foretell Saw It Coming. Then we'll just get him with the Virtuoso. Alrighty. And then we can Saw It Coming with whatever they play this next turn, or Negate, if Negate's applicable here. And then Scoot Swarm. We do not want to deal with Scoot Swarm again. Oh my gosh. That card is a nightmare. Ugh. Yeah, if you don't have an answer to Scoot Swarm, that grows so fast. Okay, blue mana. So now if our best case scenario here is our opponent tries to play a non-creature spell, we counter it, then we Fading Hope their biggest threat, and then we Show of Confidence and just wreck everything. I think we might negate a Snakeskin Veil. This looks like a deck that would run Snakeskin Veil. So Fading Hope on Kodama into negate on the Snakeskin Veil is probably going to give us enough to win this game. If they have 2 Snakeskin Veils, that's game, but I'm willing to take the risk. An opponent, what are they going to do? Probably just straight up attack. They really don't have any reason to do anything besides attack. Okay, attacks. I'm going to bounce Kodama. What say you, opponent? Snakeskin Veil, Tamiyo Safekeeping, which we negate. And now do they have a second protection spell? Actually, probably. That's why they've had cards in hand that they've been doing nothing with. Don't do it. Oh, yes! Okay, and that's flying? Okay. That's better than Sajiri Shelter in most cases. Okay, pass to damage. And our opponent's end step, we will be Show of Confidencing. That's fine. What are they going to do? If they gain life, that's actually one of the worst for us. That's fine. What you going to do, opponent? I wonder if they have like a fight spell. This is Blizzard Brawl in hand. Okay, nope. Show of Confidence. Resolve. Remove that stop. It's putting us into full control. Target him. Target him. Now we get a bunch of +1/+1s on this, and we're discarding cards. Yes, discard that. Wings of the Cosmos. Oh, it has reach, so we want to get rid of Wings of the Cosmos. Sajiri Shelter is our way to win. Discard that. Get plus. Oh yeah, we've got it. Doesn't matter what else happens here, because we can discard Wings and then Sajiri Shelter. We've got enough damage. And our opponent has something. Oh, they've got Evolving Wilds, that's all. That's probably why they're not doing anything. Storm Chaser, yeah, we're winning this turn or we're not. That's all that's happening here. Our opponent has no white mana, and I don't think there's a green spell that stops us. Sajiri Shelter. I think we'll give ourselves protection from green. That seems like a good color. And we win the game. Alrighty. 2-1. And there we saw Sajiri Shelter being super good. That was an Illuminator Virtuoso game for sure. And that is the reason we have the one-up show of confidence just for him. Alrighty. On to game 4. Game 4. I'm hoping for the 4-1 with this deck. It feels about that power level. Ooh, yikes. Versus Diamond 2? Diamond 1? I'm not sure. This is a lot of creatures and not a lot of spells. It's kind of a risky keep. It really does depend on what our opponent's doing, but this just... Storm Chaser Drake's our worst creature. The white man is awkward. I think we have to mulligan it. Okay, Delver hand. We are playing Delver. Now here's the question. Do we just run it out and hope our opponent doesn't have turn 1 removal? Like, the only turn 1 removal in this format is like Play with Fire or Spike, Field Hazard. It's so rare. We're just running it out. If this is the wrong choice, we lose. This deck is super intense. I love that about it. Okay, we're fine. We're fine. We will not reveal that, considering it is not the card we need. And we will do nothing. We now have Fading Hope if we're desperate to protect Delver. We've got Negate to counter any... Ooh, that's an interesting... Okay, so this is some sort of Rakdos aggro deck. That is not what I was expecting. Okay. Spell. Let's reveal that spell. That is a great spell to reveal. Get in with our Insectile Aberration. And we can use this Wings of the Cosmos as actually a removal spell in a way. So our opponent swings in. We play Wings of the Cosmos on our Insectile Aberration. This card, it's not like great ever, but it is like it just is always applicable. It's a removal spell sometimes. It's a way to give Virtuoso flying. It's just everything you could want. We're going to negate that. Alrighty. So that was a great turn. We got rid of a Deadly Dispute and killed their Skyclave Shade. And they can't replay it. Oh no. Eaten alive! I did not expect that. I was just trying to think. Black doesn't... I guess they do have Blood Chief's Thirst as well. But Boon of Safety wouldn't have saved us there, so... But yikes. This is not good. Our opponent now gets Skyclave Shade back. Maybe we should have kept the first hand and just had a lot of creatures. Hoped we drew into something. Because this is not looking good. Not looking good at all. Yeah. Sacrifice decks. So I was actually testing this in the Artisan Discord a decent amount to see if it was good for non-ladder play. For competing against other Artisan decks. And these sacrifice decks, they just killed me every time. There was really nothing I felt like I could do against them. Yeah, these both recur from the graveyard. We are not looking good. We can Fading Hope their Den of the Bugbear. That's something we can do. Yeah, they fire it up. We will bounce that before it gets its attack trigger. And we will scry and try and find a creature, please. Definitely do not want to land. Opponent. Okay. Damage. Ouch, ouch. Tap land. And we are dead. There is nothing we can do. Alrighty, quick game. 2-2. And this is, like, yes, this is a downside to the deck, is that it can totally fizzle. Your opponent has the right removal when you don't have the right protection. I was probably a little too greedy running out Delver. I should have just done nothing for the first couple turns setting up. But we got to see some of the fun of the intense, like, Unlike aggro decks, or sometimes even control decks, this deck feels really intense, where you have to make so many tight decisions. And I made the wrong one. I'm not sure that any of the calls I made were right. On to game number 5. Okay, game 5. I really hope I don't get a losing record with this after... I already know that I'm going to put in my thumbnail and stuff that I went to Diamond with this deck. 0 rares. Essence Capture and Virtuoso is such a fun combo that I think I'm just going to keep this. It's a little land heavy, but our deck is a little land light. Oh, we'll just run out threat number 1. Yeah, with 2 threats, I feel a lot safer about running one out. We won't get blown out as often in this last game. Okay, Jund, and they've got lots of removal. I think we wait 1 turn, so we can hold up an offer you can't refuse. Which is a fairly risky card. It means our opponent can just removal spell, we counter it, and then they have enough to do another removal spell. But, I wish we had something to stop that. That's going to be a terrible clock to play against. We've only got creature in our graveyard, and that's already a big creature. Ugh. Okay. Well, we survived for a turn. We've got protection magic up. We just need to pressure our opponent here, I guess. They block. That's fine with us. We've got an answer to a 5-mana spell. We've got an answer to a creature spell. We've got an answer to a non-creature spell. We've got an answer to some sort of sweeper. We're really, like, our Virtuoso is safe, but a life-linking threat is a serious issue here. That is absolutely a Jwariable target. I do not want Skeletal Swarming to start popping off. Does give our opponent a little bit more power. Okay, we need to win this race. It is time to slip out the back, just as a pump spell. Negate is better than an offer you can't refuse now. Alrighty, we have the mana to do one or the other, but not both. That's a little scary. The Essence Capture here will be such a blowout. I really hope our opponent tries to play a creature. That is not a creature. But at least we get to blow them out again. Like, we're losing this race, but it's not too terrible of a losing race. Like, as soon as our opponent goes for a creature spell, we all of a sudden are winning the race. Like, we can deal 8 each turn, but our opponent deals 3 and gains 3 each turn. Perfect. We will target our smaller Virtuoso. Draw, discard. Ooh, that would have been a nice card to have. Oh, we could have killed a Nighthawk Scavenger with that, actually. Oh, that would have been super good. Okay. They're trying to win this race. We will tap everything except a white. Oh, shoot, that was dumb of me. That actually pumps up their Scavenger. I was really hoping that somehow we'd, like, get Revelation of Power and just win like that. Eek. Are they tapped where they can't block? Tapped. Okay. Our opponent can't block here because these have double strike. That's hard to block. But they have to. Okay, this is good. And then we make a potentially flying threat. Our opponent's on the ropes. Meat Hook Massacre. Oh, that's not it. We win. That is game. And we got the winning record. So yeah, Illuminator Virtuoso, so happy they printed that card. Because that was just, it's such a powerful clock. Like, we just played 1 slip out the back, or like 1 essence capture, and ended up creating this 6-power creature, which is just such a fast clock in these tempo decks. Oh, alrighty, 3-2 in Diamond. This deck is playing really well. I'm very happy with how it turned out. Yeah, I think 12 threats was just about right. There were some games where we drew a little bit too many, some games where we drew not enough, but I think 12 is about right. And if you do have less in hand, I probably should have just been more cautious with playing them until I had protection up. As far as changes I would make to the deck, I think that one of our worst spells was actually Saw It Coming. Being 3 mana was really too expensive, and we rarely had mana left over on our turn to foretell it. So I think I would cut both Saw It Comings, because they just really felt bad. Revelation of Power felt really good. Show of Confidence was really good, but I think I'd actually add Wings of the Cosmos. It's a wonderful removal spell to me, and I mean, this is just one of those random draft chaff cards that you feel like, yeah, there's just a bunch of cards that do things along these lines. But this is just so perfect in our deck. It targets a creature, it untaps it, it gives flying, it's protection against like burn-based removal. It's such a random. I didn't remember this card existed until I started building this deck, and it's really impressed me. Um, Fading Hope, it didn't actually do that much. It did do great against the Kodama though, and it did save us one game. So I guess I'd keep those in. Negates, you always have to run like 2 negates. It's a powerful counter spell. But yeah, the deck overall pretty good. Saw It Coming, meh. Wings of the Cosmos overperformed for me. And as far as the sideboard goes, an offer you can't refuse, like more counter spells specific to certain matchups. I have a Nulls in here only because if I play against other Artisan decks, a Null is super essential for handling Patchwork Automaton. But Valorous Stance, it's a removal spell and a protection spell. So if we face a control deck, we can add in more protection. If we're facing some sort of stompy deck, we can bring it in as removal. And Fleeting Spirit. If we're facing a deck that's trying to remove our threats over and over, this is a threat that does not die. We can just keep it alive forever by discarding cards. So this is our best option for those matchups. Against aggressive decks, we've got Rune of Sustenance, which is a fantastic sideboard option to just like Rune of Sustenance on a Illuminator Virtuoso. That's going to be 4 life that we're gaining every single turn. And this draws us a card when we play it, so fantastic card in this deck. I might even, it's not an instant or sorcery, so I wouldn't consider it main deck, but it's certainly a great sideboard card. And that is Standard Artisan Delver. I don't know what else to say about the deck. I think even if I were making this not on a budget, the only big changes I'd make is I'd play some rare dual lands. But still, like, these cards are probably some of the best ones to be playing, which is really weird. Like, the non-budget version of this is still running some janky common, and it's just a fantastic budget deck, and it works so well. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and let me know how this deck works for you. If you guys try it out, please let me know what cards you found that worked well, what changes you've made. I've been testing it in best of 1. If you have a better idea for the best of 3 sideboard, let me know in the comments. But until then, I hope you all have fun playing some budget Magic.